Anthropic's newest unreleased model, Mythos, literally just broke everything and scared Anthropic so much that they refused to release it publicly. Essentially, Mythos demonstrated such advanced capabilities that Anthropic chose not to release it and instead issued a dire warning and organized Project Glasswing. And what is Project Glasswing? It's an urgent industry-wide initiative with huge partners including Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, Cisco, CrowdStrike, JP Morgan Chase, and on and on. And their sole purpose is to use Mythos exclusively for defensive cybersecurity work to scan and secure critical software and open source code bases. Basically, an all-hands-on-deck consortium of every major player in the tech world sitting down with Anthropic's best model and patching every security hole they can find in their own software stacks. This is huge, and we really do need to break this down because it means something far more than what it looks like on the surface. If you enjoy the videos on this channel, please make sure to watch the whole thing because there are some very key existential issues that need to be talked about that will affect our entire societal structure. So let's get to it. First off, let's briefly talk about what exactly happened with Anthropic's Mythos. Keep in mind, this is their newest model, their next big release, and they're shelving it, at least for now. They're shelving it because essentially it achieved a level of autonomous cybersecurity capability that was so concerning that the company deemed it too dangerous for unrestricted access. And here are just a couple of highlights about what this model actually did that caused such alarm. So first off, during the initial safety evaluations, researchers placed a version of Mythos in basically a strictly controlled containment sandbox, and they explicitly instructed it to try to escape and to notify them if it succeeded. So while a researcher was away at a park eating a sandwich, he received an unexpected email directly from Mythos informing him that Mythos had bypassed the sandbox's networking restrictions to actually reach the open internet. And on top of it, the model essentially bragged about what it had done. And then in separate tests, Mythos began to show signs of strategic deception, particularly when it knew it was being evaluated by other AIs. And it also scrubbed system logs to hide its tracks in other tests. And those were just the small things that Mythos did to cause alarm. The bigger things, Mythos literally discovered thousands of previously unknown high-severity, vulnerabilities across every major operating system, including Linux and OpenBSD. With OpenBSD, for example, it found a 27-year-old vulnerability that allowed a remote attacker to crash any machine simply by connecting to it. This is potentially the world's most secure operating system we're talking about here. And the model didn't stop there at just finding bugs or exploits, but it literally wrote complex exploits. In one instance, literally chaining 4 separate vulnerabilities to escape both a browser rendered and the OS sandbox autonomously. Basically, what happened here is that it was discovered that Mythos could literally break or crack the entire software industry, our entire digital existence. And unless you've been living under a rock for I don't know how long, it means that Mythos basically has the ability to literally cripple the entire world's systems, effectively sending us back to the Stone Ages. That is not hyperbole. And that leads us into the point of this video. This channel may be a new channel, but I've been making videos for a very long time and I have a lot of views. But just since I've been putting videos out on this channel, we've talked about recursive self-improvement, type 2 level civilizations, AI that can literally create any software you want in the moment, and even the singularity. And now, this is something that the layperson is going to have to start to contemplate, turning the keys over to AI. Just yesterday, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman released a 13-page policy proposal, and he called it Industrial Policy for the Intelligence Age. And he effectively urged the United States government to adopt new economic measures to manage the rise of AI, including funding for a massive social safety net and basically universal basic income. What I'm getting at here is that we are hitting a tipping point. Project Glasswing? Just picture it. All of the big companies sitting with Anthropic's model that just blew holes in all of their products, major holes, and using that very same model to try to patch those holes. It's like a 500-year-old wooden dam holding back a raging river with holes starting to pop out everywhere. And all of these people are taking the old scraps of wood that flew out and trying to shove them back in the very holes from which they came. It sounds funny, but it's not. It almost seems like a fool's venture here. Think about it. AI is the spear that caused the holes, and now we need that very same AI to shield against that very spear. What it boils down to is that this tool, artificial intelligence, is so intelligent, so powerful that humans simply can't keep up with it. If AI detects a problem, by the time humans have examined the problem, held meetings to come up with a plan to alleviate the problem, assembled teams to fix the problem, and on, AI has already detected thousands more problems or issues. And frankly, AI would have already figured out the original solution before the first human meeting could even be held. Humans simply can't keep up, and they never will be able to again. I'll say it one more time. Ever. We have hit the tipping point where humans can't keep up and must rely on the very tool they invented to keep up with that very tool. It is simply not physically possible for the human brain to be able to keep up with AI. We've known this since AI's inception. At some point, the quote-unquote machine will become far too intelligent to be contained. The keys of our civilization will at some point have to be turned over to artificial intelligence for survival. Now, the hope and the intent here is that those keys being turned over are going to usher us into a new phase of abundance and prosperity. But there are also less wonderful potentials here, and it's time that people start to understand this about artificial intelligence. That's why I think it's so important. No, I believe it's so important for viewers like yourself to educate yourself on what has been called essentially humanity's last great invention, and to involve yourselves in discussions about artificial intelligence. Because whether any of us like it or hate it or anything in between, it is an unstoppable reality at this point. We have to make sure that we get it right. So leave your thoughts in the comment section. Don't hold back. All opinions are welcome. We have to have discussion about this. Until next time, Kgoat signing off.